I followed these families in some of the poorest zip codes in the country, a white neighborhood, a predominantly black neighborhood, and a predominantly Latino and mixed race neighborhood over the course of a few years, and really trying to understand this question. What is driving inequality? What does inequality look like? What does the phenomenon reveal about itself? And the answer was actually really my political turning point, the completion of my political education. And it's looking at it and saying, hey, wait a minute. It's not just a simple economic story. It's not a story of elites, kind of greed. It's not a story of that kind of left-wing ideology. And in fact, the fundamental human experience of inequality in America, in a kind of advanced industrial country, is one that actually is a complex social story. You have broken families. In one of the neighborhoods, for example, 92% of the families were single-parent homes. So there were no fathers in the home almost anywhere in the whole zip code. You look at the social pathologies, from depression, anxiety to drug addiction, alcoholism. And then you look at the collapse of community institutions. So those mediating social institutions that once provided a structure, a sense of meaning, a sense of restraint, a sense of direction, they've all been evaporated. And all you get is the individual and the state. And so what that taught me was you have to look at the society, you have to look at cultural factors. And so at that point, the left-wing narrative on inequality, those simple story, just could not meet the standard of reality that I saw and lived with for 4 years.
Well, one of the things that's perverse about the leftist philosophy, and I would say this particularly about Marx, is that although the socialists, even the labor union socialist types who are much more forgivable, one of the things they presume is that, well, capitalism is bad, and there's an implicit presumption there that there's actually something wrong with the entire monetary exchange system and perhaps something wrong with the idea of money per se. But all you have to do to address social problems is redistribute money. And that is it's such a primordial, it's such a primitive and unsophisticated theory because, as you pointed out, if you do delve into these situations in depth, one of the things you find is that things are so broken and damaged at the bottom end of the socioeconomic pyramid, let's say, that the provision of money is not going to help in the least. Like I had clients, for example, who were part of the excluded class, let's say, and they actually didn't do too badly when they didn't have much money. But as soon as their unemployment or disability check showed up, their narcissistic and psychopathic friends would descend like a plague of vultures, and they'd be off to the bar for like a 3-day cocaine and alcohol, party to the point of unconsciousness. And I'd have clients that would find themselves face down in a ditch, the next Tuesday morning. And the idea that you can just dump excess resources into a structure that has no structure is the sort of thing that a deluded Che Guevara worshiping 13-year-old could assume, but that bears absolutely no relationship whatsoever to how much trouble real trouble is and how little mere money can do about it.